Well, I'd like to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special broadcast of Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. Today, and we'll be getting started shortly. I'd like to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special broadcast, Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. I want to apologize for the late start. We had some connection problems. We was trying to get all the technicalities out of the way, and so that was the purpose for us being running a little late. Of course, as you all know, I sent out the message. We will be discussing further the Mississippi County county tax, economic county tax extension. It will be on the ballot next month, August the 10th, and I will bring my guests on in a minute. Many of you know him, Mr. Clif Chitwood. Again, he's the developer. I believe he's a director. I think that's his proper title. I'll let him share it when he come on. But he will speak to you as to why it is necessary to extend the half-cent sale tax. Of course, we'll come back and we'll allow you to give your questions. If you have any questions for Mr. Chitwood, of course, we can't get them all, but we'll try to do our best. Okay? So let me go over here and pull up the comment screen there. And but anyway, let me just move right into it and bring on our guest for the day. How you doing, Mr. Clif Chitwood? You doing okay?
Fine, Tony. I appreciate you having me.
I'm glad you accept the invitation. You know, it's pretty hard to get some of my local officials to come on. I think since I've been doing this show for 2 years now, I only had 2 city councilmen to come on, and you know, it's still in the air when the others will come on. But nevertheless, I have you, and so we're going to roll with that.
Okay.
But for those who don't know you, just go ahead and give a little bit, you know, a short introduction of yourself before we get into the show.
Well, my name is Clif Chitwood. I'm a lifelong resident of Mississippi County. I am the county's economic developer and industrial recruiter. My primary job is to create new jobs. Those come in 2 forms, either bringing in new industries to hire our people or helping our existing industries expand and therefore hire more of our people. And that is my job.
Well, all right. I imagine you've been in that job for a pretty good while now, hadn't you?
Yes, about 22 years.
22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before basically, I think we're going to really piggyback off the the meeting as we had Monday night at Pilgrim Rest Church. There was a lot of questions. In fact, I was one of those individuals that was concerned about, my bread and butter is jobs. I know there's individuals there who believe that, when you start looking at it from a business perspective, whether they're entrepreneur or small business, whatever, they believe that some language, that the tax need to be postponed and that other language need to be included into it. I don't know exactly. I hadn't spoke with them. I don't know exactly what language that have already been chosen in terms to be inserted into this ballot, this vote that's coming up. I don't know, and so, but I'm just gonna stay with jobs. So we'll watch the screen. If we have any questions in regards to the business community, to sort of elaborate on exactly what do they mean when they say try to be more inclusive when it comes to small businesses. So hopefully they'll tune in. But we're going to start it off with, first of all, I want you to go ahead and share. Just give us about maybe 3 minutes if you can. Just tell us why this tax should be extended.
I think the primary reason is it has been wildly successful. In the last 20 years, through the use of the financial strength that the tax gives us, we have recruited plants and helped local plants expand. They have created over 4,000 jobs. That is a tremendous figure. About half of those jobs have come from new companies that we have helped bring into Mississippi County. Those include Denso, Kagome, Big River Steel, Lexicon, Atlas, Roll Coater. The other half have come from local companies that have expanded, and that would be American Greetings, Nibco, many of our older existing industries. Factories have lives just like we do. They get old. And if the companies don't reinvest, one day they can walk away from that factory. It will be completely depreciated. We see this happen every day in our country. Here in Mississippi County, we have been able to offer our local managers help so that when their company tells them we're going to have to close down a plant, and there's still going to be a couple of hundred jobs that need to go somewhere, the managers in Mississippi County have been able to say, bring them here. The county will help us. The state of Arkansas will help us. Help us buy that piece of land next door that we need, or help build some railroad spur. Those are the type of things that we invest the people's money in, and that's why so many of our local plants have expanded. And so I'm very proud of that, because the local plants are, that's who brought us to the dance, and that's who we owe our continued survival to. So 4,000 jobs, that's a lot of people. That's almost 40% of the households of Mississippi County have been directly touched by the economic development effort. That means a mother or a father has a job, and jobs give dignity to men and women, and they give security to children. Jobs are what makes families possible. Without a job, it just won't work. So I don't think there's any more worthwhile effort than helping our fellow citizens get jobs. And the world is very competitive today. Every place competes against every other place for every job. Every new plant has 50 states they can choose from. And even if they choose Arkansas, there's 75 other counties in Arkansas. So we have to put something on the table that will attract them here. And what we've been able to put is financial help. Help in buying the land, help in building railroad spurs, building roads, help in training. And that is one of the most important things. You mentioned workforce. That's the hottest item in economic development now. Which location can give us either trained people or help train the people that we need to hire? For that reason, I think the tax certainly should be extended. The people have voted twice. They voted first in 2002. The tax went into effect in 2003. The next time we voted in 2011. It's now 21, and it's time to see if the people want the effort to continue.
Well, let me ask you this here. You had indicated that you try to those businesses, for example. Let's just say you got a business out there and they sort of done hit a flat spot or start taking a nosedive. Um, is there a criteria that business must meet in order to be given some type of financial, assistance? Is there a criteria?
Yes, we work closely with the Arkansas Economic Development Commission in Little Rock. It's a state agency. It has certified public accountants. It has business managers working there. And all of the big projects are thoroughly vetted by the AEDC, as it's called. We actually don't go forward on a major project unless they are also committed to helping bring that business to Arkansas. Because as I mentioned, everything is competitive. We haven't won a project in 20 years where we didn't compete with either Tupelo, Tunica, Columbus, Mississippi, or Jonesboro, Arkansas. Those communities are they're much like Mississippi County. They're all industrial counties, and they all want the jobs.
Well, all right. You also had mentioned. I understand that there is somewhat of a $18,000 incentive to try to attract, I guess, companies to hire from within. Is that hiring from within or hiring in the surrounding area? The $18,000 is actually.
Well, that's a figure. The figure. It's a sliding figure. The higher paying job, the more we incentivize that job. And that incentive can go from $7,000 up to $18,000. That's the highest. And so what is that money for? Well, primarily, the money is to encourage them to hire Mississippi County residents. We make no incentive where they can just hire anyone and get our money. If they don't hire our people, they don't get the money. Now, what the money is used for is for capital expenditures that they have made to reimburse them for machinery, land, other things they may have bought while either building the plant or expanding the plant. But those two things can get a little confused. But all of our incentive is to hire our people.
All right, then. Now, just one quick question before I move to the next topic.
Okay.
When it comes to, this funding, how it's dispersed, are there any? Can you give me any examples to what this funding, in terms of those who say I need funding for X, Y, Z? What can this funding not be used on?
Well, it has to be used on capital investment, and the Arkansas Constitution permits us to reimburse companies for capital investment. So let's just say Acme Company, the Roadrunners, Acme. Let's say they want to come and hire 100 people, and they're going to pay in the range of $15 to $17. So we offer them an incentive of $12,000 per hire, with $1.2 million. They come buy the land, they start building, they build their building, and then since we require that those jobs be held for 2 years, 2 years later, they'll give us a sheet with the names of people they've hired and their addresses. We will verify that. We'll make calls. Are you from Mississippi County? Where do you live? And once we're satisfied that that is a accurate description that we've been given, let's say they hired everybody from Mississippi County and they kept them for the first 2 years. Nothing ever works out quite that cleanly. Sometimes it'll take 3 or 4 years before they earn all of their credits, but then the county will write them a check reimbursing them for expenses they've had. But that is what makes us competitive. That is what we can do, and that is what those communities that I just mentioned to you do in order to win the projects.
So when you say that, okay, they locked in for 2 years in terms of hiring, correct?
Well, we before we'll count it as a valid job, our criteria is that that job be held by a Mississippi County resident for 2 years.
So let me ask you this here: on your fax checking, is
Uh-huh.
that is that only just simply did with a phone call? Is it a phone call to the company, or is it a phone call to the employee? I mean, how do you do that? How
It's a
does that
phone
fax
call to
check work?
it's a phone call to the employees. I mean, we have their phone numbers and we check it out. We don't call every person, but if you've got 100 people on a list and you randomly call 20, 25, I mean and I think most companies are honest. The last thing a company wants to do is be caught in some type of Weasley maneuver. I mean, that rarely happens in the economic development arena.
And so there was other concerns in terms of, and I'm one of them in terms of jobs about this tax actually not actually reaching out to helping some people that actually really do need the help in terms of jobs.
Hmm.
I mentioned diversity. I mentioned equity or what have you. And so I guess this next topic, if we will, just shortly, um, uh, how can we get better? Uh, you get a young man who done, or a young woman that done went out and they done did all those things for us, taking the courses. As I understand, they got some program at ANC. I don't know if it's a work program. Does that cover steel, or does it cover anything other than steel? I don't know. But this individual did participate in whatever programs that they had at ANC. There's about three of them that I spoke with. And these three individuals, for some reason or another, they not haven't even received an interview. So how can we get better on somewhat? Is there any type of requirement or mandate or incentive that can be given to make sure that we start growing our tax base within by hiring within? I mean,
Well,
what can be done? I mean, is
okay.
there anything that can be done to improve diversity in terms of equity? I mean, is there anything that can be done to improve that?
I think the first thing we have to be realistic about, we have to separate the big three steel mills from the rest of the workforce. They're different. They
Yeah.
pay more. They require a higher degree of training, sophistication, and experience. The work program you just mentioned, I'm very proud of that. That's a partnership between Mississippi County Economic Development and
Uh huh.
ANC. And we bring young people in who have no work experience or a very sketchy work experience. We give them some training and then we try to help them get hired. But we can't get them hired at a steel mill. We try to help them get hired at somewhere else, somewhere that doesn't pay 100K plus a year, because that's the way the work thing works. I mean, none of us start off in the job we end up in. I mean, it's a ladder. You start at A, you get to B, you go to C, and hopefully you continue on up the ladder. So the companies that have hired enormous numbers of our people are, say, Denso. That was our first project that we worked. There's 500 people from Mississippi County work there. They're a full mix, fully representative of the county. Kagome, the same thing. And of course, American Greetings. We've helped them expand over the years. And that is a wonderful workplace for people who are not going to have the skills or even want to work in a steel mill. So uh, I think we're doing a good job. Could we do better? Everyone can always do better. Training is the key. I mean, the county put several $100,000 into training for our people so that it doesn't cost them anything. They just have to show up at ANC, and ANC will send a bus for them to get training. And that program is also successful. There's almost 50% of the people that go through it that either get a job or continue in school and go on to further degrees. So as far as a mandate, we our mandate is that you won't get anything from us if you don't hire our people. And we're the only county in Arkansas, we're the only competitive county that we compete against that has that restriction. Everybody else says, we don't care where you hire your workers. Just come here, we'll get the property tax off the plant. Some of you will live here, some of you won't. It's all the same to us. It's not all the same to Mississippi County.
Do you think restrictions is a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, shouldn't we?
I
I
think
mean, shouldn't we require some type of investment? I mean, some type of return back off our, investment. When we start talking about growing our tax base from within, is that a valid complaint to,
Oh, it's
for?
absolutely valid. And that's what we do. I mean, we insist that they hire our people or move to Mississippi County and become residents. Otherwise, they don't count as far as the jobs they create or the incentive that we offer.
I noticed also over the years, we have women who have lost, their job or whatever job that might have been, and so I know we're talking steel mills, but I think it's fair to say that, most women, if they had their first choice of employment, it wouldn't be a steel mill. So
No,
I guess I wouldn't want to close this show out without asking, how can this tax work for women in general, in terms of jobs, in terms of entrepreneurship, or do you have such program right now that do just that? That target women for jobs and women for entrepreneurship.
well, we certainly have an entrepreneur program, a small business program. There's only, you only have to hope to create 3 jobs. We've actually only helped one person like that, Dedrick Davis, Mr. Pickle, but I'm very proud of Mr. Davis and his
Oh, I know Mr.
entrepreneurial
Pickle.
effort.
Yeah, yeah,
And we
very
will
good man,
continue to
good
work
business.
with her. He is. I mean, I once met Orville Redenbacher
Yeah.
35 years ago, and Dedrick reminds me a lot of Orville Redenbacher.
All right.
So we're working with 4 other small companies now that are hoping to expand. We require a business plan, financials, showing how they think things will work out. And then very often we just go forward on those type of projects without the state of Arkansas because they're really geared towards the bigger companies. As far as women, most of the women lost their jobs in the late 90s and the 0 years, 2001 to 2010. And that's when all the jobs, the assembly jobs, like we're at Milwaukee Tool, Borg Warner, they went to China. I mean, first they went to Mexico, and then they jumped over to China. And they have not come back. I think they're about to come back. I think the COVID has shown us that the supply chain is shaky, and that if a company depends on everything coming out of China, they run a risk, just like the automobile companies now see. They've got cars stacked up everywhere because they're lacking a little bitty chip. So I think we'll have an opportunity to win some of those jobs back, and I think it's very important that we do. I mean, I've worked those projects every bit as hard as we've worked for expansions in steel mills. Because if you go to Denso or Kagome, you will see a large percentage, American Greetings, a large percentage of female workers.
Just I think you mentioned at the meeting the other night that 40. I think your number was 46% of the people they live in Mississippi County that work at Big River Steel. Did I quote you correctly?
Yes, that's pretty close.
Okay. Kind of looked like you lost your light there, didn't you?
I think my light went.
Yeah. But yeah, we won't be too much longer. But the 46% of those people, is that an accurate number today, or have of that 46% people since being hired at Big River Steel, do you think that they probably done chose other areas to live like Jonesboro? There's been a lot of people leaving Mississippi County choosing to live in Jonesboro. And so do you think of that 46% of people that was hired at Big River Steel, is it fair to say that that number probably done shrink now, and these folks live elsewhere?
No, I think if anything, it's growing. I think when Big River originally started, uh, they hired a number of people from Columbus, Mississippi. If you'll recall, John Carini at one time was head of the Nucor Yamato mill, and then he was head of Nucor. When he lost control of Nucor, he took over first Birmingham Steel, and then he started his own steel company, Cervicor, and it went to uh, Columbus, Mississippi. So many of those people that staffed that mill were originally from Mississippi County. When he started Big River, he hired many of those same managers back. And a fair number of them moved to Osceola, some moved to Blytheville, some moved to Manila, and then now I think more are moving. Some, of course, a number went to Marion, but I think now, from what I understand, a number of people are leaving Marion and moving to either Manila or Osceola. And so I think that figure is probably pretty constant. The rest of them, probably, you as I have noticed the number of how the trailer parks in Mississippi County have become full of high dollar RVs and campers. And I think that's what a lot of guys, and it's almost always guys, do. They drive in, work there 4 days, and live in the camper, and then they go home.
Mm-hmm.
But the incentive is just for those that live in Mississippi County.
Well, all right then. Last topic.
Okay.
Last topic we're going to be talking about is where I headed somewhere over here. You know, there's been a lot of talk. Why the tax? Why tax should be? No, that's not it. We talked about. Yeah, here we go. We talked about postponing the election date. I heard a lot of that talk. There was one lady asked a question, and I think there might have been others piggybacking off it. The first question is, if this tax cannot be postponed, let's just say this tax is going to take place August the 10th. That's the election date, right?
Yes, sir.
It's going to take place August the 10th. Now, if this tax is defeated, is there anything statutory law that will prevent this tax from coming back up? Say, the tax can be reintroduced to voters until 1-2 years has passed, or what? I mean, is there anything that will prevent this tax from being reintroduced to voters? Shall it fail?
No, it could be reintroduced next year. I think the reason it's important to go forward now is that while there are considerable dollars in the county's economic development funds, almost all of those dollars have been committed to companies that are now in the process of hiring. We have ongoing projects at both Nucor and Big River. Those incentives are there to give them every possible encouragement to hire Mississippi County people. And so if we take all those committed funds out of the equation, the effort is running low on funds, and we're currently working several good projects, the kind of projects you were just talking about that would hire a higher percentage of females and people that aren't in the metals industry. And to win them, though, it's going to take what it always takes, which is some financial muscle to bring them in here. And that's why I think it's important that we decide right now to continue the effort. If people want to take a further look, I mean, and what people ask for is they say, we need to have community or quality of life investments. But what any two people mean by that can be miles and miles apart. And so until we have a community-wide, county-wide discussion on exactly what that will mean, which if we all come to an agreement, we can change. I mean, we can have another vote to change and change it. But in the meantime, why not win these projects, create these jobs right now? And then if we all decide that we want to take a percentage of those funds and do something else with them, once we agree on what the something else is, then we can do that.
Well, Mr. Chickwood, look like we pretty much at the bottom of our QA, for this evening. And as I indicated, I really do appreciate you for for taking time out of your busy schedule, coming on, speaking with me, and speaking with voters. Um, and I just like to say that as it relates to this tax, my last concern is, I think sort of shared that with you a little bit. We speaking the other day. Um, we so often like to criticize our young people. That is, you know, has something to do with juvenile delinquency in terms of crime or what have you. Uh, we always have somewhat of an adult job fair,
Right.
and I would hope that perhaps maybe because we're talking economics here, I would hope that your office maybe can probably set up some type of uh, meeting where you, uh, city officials and county officials or what have you, can come together to see if we can try to create for the next year summer when school is out. This year here is about gone for the summer, but I'd like to see us start somewhat of a youth job fair. Starting somewhere around March, and that way when the kids uh, do turn out for the year, the end of the school year, hopefully we'll have something to keep them busy, keeping them safe, and by all means, and I think they will agree with like this, keeping a little money in their pocket.
Right.
So is that something that you can see that is somewhat feasible that can, might happen?
I think it could. I mean, I think that workforce training is certainly within the domain of economic development. As I mentioned earlier, there's nothing more important to companies now than knowing that they can find a future supply of people who want to go to work. And so I think almost anything we can do with our young people to show them the benefits of work and that how you go about getting a job and how you keep a job and what the jobs out there are is all to our benefit as a community and a people.
Well, all right, Mr. Chickwood, and like I say, I know that this is something that uh, you really feel that is needed, that you want this tax to pass, and so in saying that, I'd like to go ahead and give you extend this time to you where you can go ahead and give us closing remarks on why you believe uh, this tax should be extended.
I think that our community, Mississippi County, we have an obligation to each other. As I said at the beginning of this, work gives dignity to men and women. It gives security to children. It makes families possible. Therefore, I don't mind paying 1/2 of 1 cent on every dollar I spend to help my fellow Mississippi Countyans achieve a job. It's a competitive marketplace for jobs. There's 50 governors. Every governor wants every project. There's 75 counties in Arkansas. If a company wants to come to Arkansas, we have to compete against most of them. I've traveled this state extensively. There are counties that are dying. Mississippi County is in a struggle, but it is not dying. There is a lot of money in Mississippi County. There is a lot of property in Mississippi County. It's worthwhile fighting for. We have come a long way in 20 years. If we take what fate wants to deliver us, we won't like it. But we can make our own, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Well, all right, Mr. Chickwood. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to sneak that question in there, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Um, in regards to the this economic board, I think at the meeting it said that it was a total of what was it, 18 members,
16, I believe. Yes.
16 members, and I think it was like what 2 or 3 that was African American.
Yes.
Is is there any plans to try to have a board that more so reflect the community, the county or whatever for which it lives? I mean, is that a fair thing to ask that this board need to reflect the county for which it represents?
Oh, I think it's fair, and I think the board would be most receptive to any person.
I mean, in terms of numbers, right now is 16 people. There's only 2 or 3 blacks that's on the board. I think most people will say that, you know, that wouldn't be what you call a picture of diversity. You know, when you're trying to uh, you know represent a good coalition of people that live
Right.
within the county.
Well, the board is made up of all the mayors of the cities of the first class, which is Blytheville, Osceola, Manila, Wilson, Leachville, uh, and then we have representatives from each of the major businesses. Now, the representatives from both Nucor and Big River Steel are African American, as well as the representative from the ELC. But I think if there's a community member that would be interested in economic development, interested in getting on the team, that person would be welcome. Just give me a call. We'll talk.
Well, all right, fair enough. Hopefully, those who have listened to you replying and giving the answer, to the question in regards to the board, and so hopefully, if they know someone that wishes have a desire to serve on the board, well, they heard from you. They need to give you a call, and so I think
Okay.
that's fair, and so hopefully, you would get some calls. I don't know. But anyway, again, Mr. Chitwood, I thank you for coming on today, and may you continue to have a blessed day.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Clif Chitwood of the that was Mr. Clif Chitwood of the. Let me go up here and do something right quick. Oops, not that. Okay. Well, let me go up here and do something right quick. Okay, here we go. Now I'm ready. Well, anyway, that was Mr. Clif Chitwood. He's the economic director, developer for Mississippi County. He came on to speak about why the tax should be extended. I think many of us who attended the Monday night meeting, from what I gathered, that it wasn't so much that we are against the half-cent sales tax. We know that had it not been for this half-cent sales tax, this city would have dried up, especially after the base closed, the air base. And thank God that we had steel industry to move in that pretty much, gave us that lifeline. And so the tax has been good in terms of bringing in industry and jobs and, maybe creating a few small businesses, helping them. But I think the question was, have it been fair for all? And so hopefully, I don't know what groups are out there that plan on drafting some type of language, if it comes to that case, to present to the quorum court, to how they can, go ahead and insert that language into this upcoming vote. And the only way that'll happen is that they're going to have to postpone the election. And the legal question is out on that. And so I did call the county attorney to try to get more into it in terms of why this tax couldn't be postponed. But unfortunately, I have not heard back from him, or I have not heard from him. I did speak with his secretary, and so it is what it is. The tax elect is going to happen August the 10th, and give you an opportunity to go out and vote either way. Whether you vote for it or whether you vote against it. But all I say is do your homework and get your information. All right. Now, before I close out, I think many of you saw a video that I posted today, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to post this video again. It's no more than 6 minutes. We just 39 minutes into the show. We're not even 45 yet. So many of you saw this already, and I want to go ahead and run this for you right now. Let me see if I can bring it up. Let me get this out of the way first. Okay, let's see if we can play this. Ah, boy, don't want to play for me. Let me go up here and play it. I'd like to say hello, everyone. I want to show you all something. I'm downtown Blytheville. Let me see if I can turn this thing around. All right, I'm downtown Blytheville. Just left my barber down here getting my hair cut, and this is the building next door, downtown Blytheville. All right, this is where they had some truck. I don't know if it was a company or just some guys that they paid to come clean out, well, supposedly clean out this section of this area downtown. This is a building that done fell in, the roof, there's no roof. The only thing pretty much standing now is the walls. As you can see, this is an environmental concern, asbestos, you name it. We got tires, car tires, in this same section. Let me see if I can zoom in. You have tires right here. This is somewhat been served as a junk pile, dumping area, which is illegal. Again, this is downtown Blytheville. All right. Back here years ago, you remember me feeling some of this mess downtown where we had trees growing in buildings all through the alley. You know, we need to clean up this city. You know, we talk so much about who's to blame, you know, whether it's the county, whether it's the state or whatever. I think it's fair to say this is a city problem right here. There you go again. You have tires again. You know, just look at this crap. Just look at it. How did we allow this building to get in this shape? Downtown. This is the building that is adjacent to where I get my hair cut. Okay? This is pitiful. This is ridiculous. And I'd like to know what company that was contracted or hired to so-called come in here and clean up this mess. As a matter of fact, they pretty much done left stuff back here in the yard where they bagged in at. This is right down here by Southern Bancorp, right across from the bank. Okay? There goes Southern Bancorp right there. It's right across from the bank. If you go to the bank and you look towards your right or left based on which way you're traveling, this is what you will see right here. This is exactly what you will see. Okay? So, where is our code enforcement? Are they aware of this? This is supposedly to be somewhat of a cleanup effort. Where are they taking this debris? Are they taking it to the landfill? If so, that could be a violation. Did they bring some type of asbestos testing kit back here to test for, you know, unsafety concerns or whatever? Who was the company contracted to do this so-called cleanup effort? Look at this mess. Just look at this mess. We even got a commode here. Where is it at? That's part of a commode right there. I guess that must be where the restroom used to be. There go the pipe in there. There must be some type of sewer area. This is ridiculous, y'all. We just had a meeting Monday on the county tax. And I want to say this here about that county tax. You need to be just as equally concerned with how your city tax dollars is being spent. You know, we got to be fair. We need to put the blame to where it need to be. The county has a job to do as well as the city. Okay? So let's put blame to where blame need to be. Look at this crap. Just look at it. This is the sky right here. It ain't got no roof. This building, that area I'm standing right now, that's the sky. Don't even have a roof. It's falling in. So we'd like to get the code enforcement down here. Chief of police, he running things. He's over code enforcement. Need to get down here. We need to write some citations out to whoever was hired to do this so-called job. If this is not a fine, I don't know what is. Code enforcement should not give anyone any more citations if they can't clean up this crap. Look at this crap. It's pitiful, pitiful. And like I say, I'm downtown by Southern Bancorp, the bank, and this is the building that is adjacent to where I get my haircut. Just about at the end. Okay, where did this guy who did this cleanup? Where did he haul this debris? Where did he take it to? He had to take it to somewhere. And wherever he took this debris, there could very well be some safety, environmental concern, asbestos, you name it. So we need to get the code enforcement down here to look at this crap. Hopefully we'll get a report soon. I'm out. Y'all take care. Now I showed that because, you know, we so often, you know, we point the finger at the county for them not doing the things that they should do. For example, you take our own police department and our county sheriff department. The two law enforcement agencies do not work together. I don't know what it is, but, you know, one or the other got a chip on his shoulder. You know, something as simply as a traffic accident. We can't depend on the county and the city to work together. Okay? I think in all fairness, the county have showed up to assist the city, Broward Police Department when they, you know, short of help and need some assistance, need help. For example, that accident that happened down there on 18th. And so we have to have our county and our city to work together. And so just like we're going to hold our county officials accountable in terms of economics, we also got to hold our city officials accountable. Because you have to admit, what I just showed you, that video, that don't have anything to do with the county, but more so a whole lot to do with the city officials. I showed that video earlier today, as much as probably 6 hours done passed. I have not got one email, not one call from any city official, not even the mayor, chief of police, code enforcement, Ricky Jefferson, nobody. I guess my tax dollars don't mean nothing. You know, they take them and tell me to shut up. You know, but anyway, hold your city officials accountable as quick as you would your county, your state, and your national officials. That's all I have today, you all. I'm not going to be broadcasting Sunday because I have to attend a funeral, and so I will not be broadcasting this Sunday. So I'd just like to say you all can come back and probably catch me again, you know, same time, the week after, the 18th, that is, and we'll try to bring you another good show. Hopefully, Mr. Chitwood said something that can persuade you one way or the other as to vote for the tax or not to vote for the tax. Okay? So until then, I'd like to say to each and every one of you, have a blessed night. God bless. Peace and love.